Good evening, and welcome to another episode of ASMR Spire. After my first video, I asked for some feedback, and I was lucky enough to have a few viewers tell me what they'd like to see. We're going to try and speak a little louder this time and make it a little easier for people to watch the video, as well as comment a little less on the mechanics of the game, so that way you can learn as we go. I want to thank my 2 subscribers that added themselves prior to the making of this video. I'm very grateful for your support. Before we get started, I do want to ask anyone who's listening to comment below on what they'd like to see differently, if there were any words or things that I did that may have made your ASMR trigger. And lastly, I just want to remind everybody that this is for relaxation and not for strict and perfect gameplay. Let's get started. We're going to do standard today. As we make more videos, maybe we'll select daily climb, but let's just embark on a normal quest here. Previously, we ran with the ironclad, so we'll do our second video with the silent. The silent plays a little differently, where the ironclad is more brute force and exhausting cards to various effects. The silent draws and discards their cards rather quickly as a means of either cycling through or causing effects through discard. We're going to go to Ascension level 1, so elites spawn more often. Let's begin. Here we have our three-eyed whale friend. Another try, he says. Like the first video, I've been goofing around in the game a bit. That's not really the best way to win, so we won't receive a blessing this time around, but hopefully we do well enough to get it on our next attempt. Oh, look at me forgetting. He's asking me to choose a blessing. We can transform a card. Enemies in our next 3 combats could have 1 HP. We could transform 2 cards with the cost of 7 max HP. Or we could lose our starting relic and obtain a boss relic. This blessing here never changes. Let's take a look at our map and see if we can get any elites down to 1 HP with the paths that we take. Oh, we've got a promising one here. So if we start on this path, we go 3 question marks, a shop, and an elite. And that'd be a free elite kill for us. Alternatively, we could not take that blessing. But let's see how many elites we could get here. No, I think that's what we'll do. Enemies in your next 3 combats have 1 HP. Granted. Let's leave. And as I said, we'll start right over here. This will be relatively simple for the first few fights. We're just going to take an attack. Once. Twice. And there we go. Do we want any of these cards? Let's see, we have Piercing Wail. All enemies lose 6 strength for 1 turn, and it exhausts. Exhausting, to remind you, is removing until the end of combat, so we can play this once per fight. Flying Knee, deal 8 damage. Next turn, gain an energy. And Poison Stab, deal 5 damage and apply 3 poison. We haven't seen the poison effect yet. Poison creatures lose HP at the start of their turn. Each turn, poison is reduced by 1. So if we apply 3 poison, that's essentially 6 damage, because we'll start at 3, and then it reduces to 2, and then it reduces to 1 over the course of 3 turns. However, Flying Knee is a solid pick here, so we'll move forward with that. A strange blue humanoid with a golden helm approaches you with a huge smile. Hello, friend. I am a cleric. Are you interested in my services? The creature shouts loudly. We know on this channel we'll never be shouting loudly. Let's see. Do I want to be healed? Well, I have full health. So instead, let's purify. Pay 50 gold and remove a card from our deck. If you recall, I personally like to play a little more aggressively, so let's drop a defend and leave. I didn't go over all of the differences between the Ironclad and the Silent. In our first video at the end of each fight, we would gain 6 health back. The Silent, however, starts each combat with 2 additional cards. Let's go to our next random room. From the darkness, an arm pulls you into a small shop. As your eyes adjust, you see a pale woman in sharp clothes gesturing towards a wall of potions. Buy a potion, now, she states. Well, she's not very relaxed, and I don't particularly want to stick around for someone like that. Let's just leave. Wham! Her gloved fist collides with your face, nearly knocking you off your feet. Get out before I litter the floor with your guts. You take her word and exit, with your guts still safely in your body. Let's go to another unknown room. Oh, we ran into a combat situation, but that's okay. We'll quickly dispatch these foes. But before I do that, let's read these 2 cards that are unique to the Silent. We have Survivor, where we gain 8 block and discard a card. And we have Neutralize, where we deal 3 damage and apply 1 weak. You've already read Flying Knee, and we have Strike and Defend, which are similar to the Ironclad. It's just the picture is a bit different for it. We got 16 gold, and we'll add a card to our deck. Noxious Fumes. At the start of your turn, apply 2 poison to all enemies. That's a very slow, passive way to play. Sneaky Strike. Deal 10 damage. If you have discarded a card this turn, gain 2 energy. Currently, we only have one way of discarding, and that's a pretty high energy. We'll pass on that for now. In deadly poison, apply 5 poison. Poison builds are very fun with the silent, but the most effective ones involve defending while stacking poison. You're really in it for the long haul when you're poisoning someone, and I'd like to get through these fights relatively quick, even though I may be narrating a bit slow. We're going to skip the card for now. Now we have a merchant to visit. Welcome. Let's see what he's got for sale. Well, deal 10 damage to all enemies and discard 1 card at random. We could reduce the size of our deck. I think we're going to take this AoE damage instead. Mostly because there's a particular elite fight that I don't much care for. This is the last use of our 1 health combats. Let's take a look. We've got Lagavulin. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. He can be quite a tough opponent. Thankfully, we have him down to 1 HP. We're going to reduce our master volume a bit. I feel like some of those combat noises are a bit loud. Here's our loot. 31 gold. Amlamori. Negate the next 2 curses you obtain. An ancient potion where we gain 1 artifact. And a card. We have distraction. Add a random skill to your hand. It costs 0 this turn. Exhaust. Dash. Gain 10 block. Deal 10 damage. And Catalyst. Double an enemy's poison and exhaust. I'm going to skip all 3 of those and move on. Finally, some real combat. Against a jawworm. First we're going to neutralize. And then we'll cast Survivor. This essentially makes it so we take no damage for this first round. We'll deal 10 damage to him. And then deal 6. And end our turn. Oh man, this jawworm. We're going to try and save as much health as possible and block all 7 damage. And hit him with a knee to the face, so we have 1 extra energy coming our way next turn. We'll strike him once. We'll strike him twice. I think we'll defend for... Oh, wait a second. No, we won't. We'll just finish him off. Take our 16 gold. A fire potion where we deal 20 damage. And add a card to our deck. Man, they really wanted us to play poison this time around. I won't be reading all the cards all the time, but as they make their first appearances, we'll be going over them. We have Deflect, gain 4 block, Deadly Poison, apply 5 poison, and Backflip, gain 5 block, and draw 2 cards. We're going to skip these again. I want something a little more aggressive. And here we'll fight another elite. See if we can get a special item called a relic up here. Gremlin Knob, we've seen him before. Let's just wail away. We want him down as quickly as possible, since he can hurt quite a bit. Plus, he's rather angry and We don't need that stress. We're here to relax. We're going to defend for 5, even though he has a buff where if we use a skill, he'll gain 2 strength. But 5 is a little bit better than 2, so it'll still help stave off some damage. Thanks to Flying Knee, we'll get an extra energy. Down here it shows us that we can pretty much play everything. So we will try and defend as much as possible. We made him stronger, but I'm hoping we'll be able to deal enough damage where we can use this fire potion. Let's see. Thankfully, we can do just that. 27 gold. Blood Vial. At the start of each combat, heal 2 HP. It's important for everyone watching to understand the difference between combat and turn. Combat is essentially the fight itself. So Blood Vial will heal us 2 HP for every fight that we enter, but it will not affect us on every turn of that fight. Now we have some new cards to look at. Well-laid plans. At the end of your turn, retain up to 1 card. Blur. Gain 5 block. Block is not removed at the start of your next turn. And Concentrate. Discard 3 cards and gain 2 energy. This is a card that it might seem silly to take, but it works for certain builds. Typically, you shouldn't take it unless you have something that works in tandem with it. But, like my favorite ASM artist always says, sometimes you just need to take a bravery test. So we will take this Concentrate. It's our bravery test for the day. It might end the run earlier than expected, or it might make it very enjoyable to watch. Let's find out. Again, we're here to relax and have fun. We're not trying to make the best decisions. We're not min-maxing, so I know there's someone out there who may have just pulled their hair out with that card pick, but let's see what we have in our treasure chest here. 23 gold and Whetstone. Upon pickup, upgrade 2 random attacks. Well, we have our Flying Knee, and we also have All-Out Attack that are our extra cards. So let's see if we get lucky and those get upgraded. There it is, Flying Knee and a Strike. We'll go to our campfire, and we can either heal or upgrade a card. We're not too hurt just yet, so let's upgrade something. We could upgrade our All-Out Attack, and that'll add 4 damage to it. Or we could upgrade our Neutralize, and that applies 2 Weak. Weakened creatures deal 25% less damage with attacks. And if we apply it twice, it'll last for 2 turns. Because I'm not one to enjoy defending, we're going to upgrade this card instead of All-Out Attack. That way they're weakened a little longer and I can fight a little harder. We now have a choice. We can go to an unknown room, or we can go to an enemy. Going to the enemy means that we can fight an elite, so I'm going to go this way. This particular spiked slime has a debuff called Split. When its HP is at or below 50%, it splits into 2 smaller slimes with spiked slime larges current HP. So half of 65 is going to be 33 or 32. Currently, he's going to be applying a negative effect to me. And this is a time where I can show you how an ancient potion works. We gain one artifact, and artifacts negate negative buffs, negative effects. So we'll do as much damage as we can for now. And we'll end our turn. He'll attack, but our artifact should keep us safe. If I cast these 3 attacks here, it should cause him to split. There we go. We're going to cast our strikes before we cast all-out attack. This way, we don't risk discarding all-out attack. Discarding with all-out attack. We don't want to lose those strikes we just played. Neutralize and strike. Spoils. 15 gold. We'll add a card to our deck. Goodness me, nothing's jumping out, so let's just skip. I have a bad habit of waiting for a card to appear that gets me excited and thinking about making an amazing deck. And honestly, I should get better about just picking cards that have good value. And I do that when I'm playing by myself, but with you guys, I'm just hopeful that we'll make something special happen early on. Let's fight this elite, and maybe we'll get lucky and see something we like at the end of this fight. Oh, the sentries. You all know how much I dislike the sentries. Thankfully, we have all-out attack, and we'll only take a little damage this fight. We're going to use our flying knee, so we have extra energy next turn. And now that one of them is down, we should be able to defend ourselves each turn. There's that concentrate that we have yet to use, and we probably won't use it until we see something that we can form our deck around with it. There's particular items that we can pick up that make it very useful, and there's some cards as well. But the trick is finding them. What usually happens to me is I get the items that would make a card like concentrate valuable, and then I never see concentrate. So I thought maybe picking it up first this time and hoping the item will appear later would work out. We got an item called Prayer Wheel. Non-boss chests now also contain cards. That's not a particularly strong item, but at least now we don't need to worry about getting it later. We have some new cards here. Accuracy. Shivs deal 3 additional damage. Shivs are a 0-cost attack card with exhaust. We haven't seen any of those yet, so we're not going to take accuracy. Caltrops. Whenever you are attacked, deal 3 damage to the attacker. And Prepared. draw one card, discard one card. And this is just a cycling card if you want to get through your deck a little faster and find something a little quicker. We're going to skip pickup again. We'll go to the shop. We'll see what he has to say. Well, we could upgrade 2 of our skills with War Paint. We could get an anchor and start each combat with 10 block. We do not have enough money for Ginger, which makes it so we can no longer be weakened. Or we could pick up any of these cards. Or we could remove a card. Let's remove a card. And it's going to be another defend that we remove. Also, I'm going to pick up this card called Quick Slash, where we deal 8 damage and draw 1 card. What we're looking for is something that allows us to draw when our hand is empty. It's a long shot, but if we get that and we have Concentrate, we can almost create an infinite loop with the right cards in hand. So let's try and achieve that. I think I will also buy a strength potion where we gain 2 strength. Strength just adds base damage to our physical attacks. And we will leave. We have one more enemy to fight, and then a bonfire to rest at before we face off against this final boss for this stage of the game. We're going to strike the back line, strike the front line, neutralize the front, and cast a defend. We wanted to hit this guy at least once, because he has an ability called Curl Up, where once you hit him once, he'll defend, but future turns he won't. We're going to strike the back line again. We probably didn't need to do that. That's okay. We'll strike the front, and we'll do an all-out attack. Take only 4 damage for this fight. Flying Knee, Neutralize, and Quick Slash. We'll take 19 gold. We have a regen potion where we heal 3 HP at the end of each turn for 5 turns. And let's see what cards we can get. Nothing that we want. We're going to rest before this boss. And then we'll go and fight the boss. This is Hexaghost. And I have to say, me and him do not get along very often. Goodness, we forgot to drink our potions before the fight. We'll weaken him for as much as we can, and we'll defend at least some of this. Four times 6. We'll Quick Slash, neutralize again, strike, and we're going to take the 4 damage. Try and bring this guy down as quickly as possible. and we'll block. Flying knee, strike, and all-out attack. We've been keeping him weakened quite a bit. It's been working out nicely. We're going to cast Survivor, so that way we can get rid of this status card. He's been throwing these in our deck with his attacks. They're unplayable, and at the end of our turn, we take 2 damage. So if I discard it, and I end my turn, because it's not in my hand, I don't receive that damage. We're going to strike, strike, strike. We'll take the 10 damage. Whenever you defeat a boss, the next boss that you attack, not the next boss, I apologize. Whenever you defeat a boss, the next floor that you go to, you start with full health. So, taking damage during a boss fight doesn't necessarily hurt us too bad. It's just living through it that matters. We're going to defend, and oh, I know, you're all so happy. Concentrate serves a purpose, because we can discard the burn that's in our hand with it. I knew it would have its moment to shine. It wasn't the grandest of plays, but at least it could be used. Again, we're going to discard a burn, so we don't need to worry about it, as well as defend against this 18 damage coming our way. Goodness, that attack hurt quite a bit, didn't it? Well, we can defend and get rid of Burn Plus. Burn Plus deals 4 damage instead of 2. We'll Quick Slash, Strike, and all-out attack, discarding the other burn. Now we'll Flying Knee and strike to end the fight. We have 100 gold, a fire potion, and we get to add a rare card to our deck. You get a rare card at the end of every boss fight, but you know that the pack contains all rares because the symbol here is going to be gold instead of silver. We can envenom. Whenever an attack deals unblocked damage, we apply poison. Doppelganger. Next turn, draw X cards and gain X energy. X is the amount of energy we use to play the card. It will always drain all of your energy that's available. So if I cast it at the beginning of my turn, it will take all 3. If I cast it at the end of my turn, it might just take 1 or 2, depending on how much energy I left before playing this card. And then 1,000 cuts. Whenever you play a card, deal 1 damage to all enemies. Again, nothing's jumping out at me that I'd like to play right now, so I'm going to skip this card pickup. We get a treasure at the end of every boss fight, and it's a little special. It contains an item that's more powerful than what we've seen in the past. We have Calling Bell, obtain 3 curses, and 3 relics. Curses are cards that are not so friendly that are forced into your deck. But 3 relics means that we get 3 items that might help us along the way. Lizard Tail. When you would die, heal to 50% of your max HP instead. It works once. And Snecko Eye. Draw 2 additional cards each turn. Start each combat confused. Confused is whenever you draw a card, randomize its cost. Snecko Eye is the type of item I like to play with. It makes the game a little zany. It will certainly change how often I pick cards up. I'll be picking cards up quite often as long as they have a high cost. And it's another bravery test, I'd have to say. So we're going to take the Snecko Eye. Now, I had mentioned picking up high cost cards, and that is because if Confusion randomizes the cost of our cards, if we pick up a 0 cost card, it almost never benefits us, because it can either be 0, 1, 2, or 3. If we pick up a 3 cost card, it almost always benefits us, because the cost again can either be 0, 1, 2, or 3. So we have a 75% chance that it'll be lower than 3. 2s, you have a 50% chance it'll be lower than 2. 1, you have a 25% chance it'll be lower than 1. And playing a card for its cost isn't necessarily bad, but it's not necessarily good. So we'll be avoiding low cost cards in favor of high cost cards moving forward. Before I hit proceed, I'm going to end this episode. We'll start another episode with the next floor. Future videos will be running through an entire playthrough, but I want to be able to check the sound levels, change some things here or there, and hear your feedback as viewers before I make longer videos. There might have been a clicking in the background, a way that I said something. Maybe I'm not talking loud enough. Maybe I'm talking too loud. And so I want to try and adjust these things early on in this channel. Once I get a more established rhythm, I'll be posting longer episodes. Please, again, take the time to comment. I'll always be sure to respond. And just keep in mind that comments on gameplay, although not unwarranted, will not be responded to. We're here to relax, unwind at the end of the day, not get worked up over what a stranger did on the internet, what card they should have played, or what they should have done. As long as we're relaxing, we're doing it right. Thanks again for watching, and have a great rest of your evening. Good night.